Hello and welcome to another Demis Helen tutorial. This video we're going to look at how to build chords around an existing melody. Something that I don't do in my videos because I tend to build the chord structure and kind of pattern before I add the melody in. I blend it in that way. But I have been asked, like, if I've got this melody which is starting on F here, does that mean it's an F chord? Does it mean it's a D chord? Does it mean it's an A chord? How do you know? So without obviously having the knowledge behind you looking at music from a kind of classical perspective, from a notation perspective, you can use various things, and I'm going to show you a website called Scales and Chords, and we'll just take a look at that now. So scalesandchords.com, and it comes up saying here scales, and go to Scale Finder, which brings you to a page where you can input the notes that you already have. So as you can see, I've input F, E, A and G, and that is what I've got there. And it's coming up with all the scales that will fit. So we'll keep it very simple, and we're going to go for C major. So just for the moment, I'm going to turn on the internet to load this page, and then off again. Just don't want any texts coming through. Alright, so in the C major, you've got all of the white notes. So it's from the C, D, E, F, G, A, B and C. So keeping it really simple, and here it's telling me what the normal triads are. So C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor and B diminished. Now these chords are going to work. You can go for these other ones, but kind of get familiar just using normal triads first. So we'll use a C as a starting point. So let's just listen to the melody here. Okay, so that's what we're working with, that's the melody. So let's put it up one octave. So it's definitely a melody. And we're just going to put a C chord in there. So that is a C, E and G. C, E and G. And as you can hear, that doesn't sound right. And the reason being is we're starting on an F and we're trying to force some notes together there. So just play around. You could start on an F. Okay, so that is F, A and C. Okay, so that sounds quite nice straight away, and I've been told that I can use an F, which is there. Alright, so now we jump down to an E here. So we could use an E minor, or we could use a C. So let's use a C, start simple. So it's not sounding very trancey, but it does work, so let's just put it up to E. Let's just use an E minor. See, that sounds nice, and what we're doing is we're following. So the root note is that melody there. Usually, from what you know about my videos, is the chords are built, and then I take the melody from the middle notes. So we'll look at that probably in more detail another time, but we'll use these as the root notes. So we've got an A next, so we've got an A minor, so let's put that there. We know they're all white notes because all of this is C to B, well, C to C, one octave, and there's no black notes in there whatsoever. So we know that's going to work. Then we've got a G, so we're going to put a G in there. Just transpose that up to a B because we know there's no black notes, and this is what we have. Alright, so just keeping to those simple triads really gives you a good idea of how the chord structures work. So now you know that these bottom notes of each chord are the bass notes. So let's just make a simple pattern here. Okay, so we have this. And then because I'm using one of my presets, Pluck Stars, we're going to add a rolling bass in there. So just roll that in there. So I'm just following the bottom note of each chord. And on to G. so you can see what is happening there. It's following nicely and it's not out of key whatsoever. Just going to transpose these up one more and then all of it down once, so there's a bit more space. So there is your chord structures for that. So if we just chop this up here, get rid of these extras. Right, we'll work on a different one. For now, I'll get rid of the rolling bass and we'll just focus on the chords. So, as I mentioned, I usually use the middle notes of each chord to add a little bit of emotion in there. That's kind of my theme. So F is the middle key, and at the moment we've got A. So let's just focus that down to here. So we've got F on there, and then we've got E as our middle key. So we know there's no black notes, so let's just transpose them down. And then we have A as the middle key, so that's good. We just need to transpose these black notes. And then we have G, so transpose that down. That is good. So this is what it sounds like now. Alright, so it doesn't sound as good to me. Let's just transpose that up. So it's quite good. But then where you can get really experimental is you now look at some of these chords and you think, right, there's more here that I'm using. So we've got an E, F, G and a D. So E, F, G and D. So we're using these ones. So we haven't got a C in there or an A minor. So then I would look at this and think, if I drop that down to a C, I've still got a G in there. So let's just see how that goes. It suddenly starts sounding different. And you can mix around these chords and you can start to generalize a pattern and start to understand things a little bit better. It is a long-winded way around things, but it's a good way to start learning. And once you're starting to get comfortable with the C major scale, for example, here, you can start moving on to some of these other triads, and then 4-note chords, and then 5- and 6-note chords. There's all different things that you can do, and you can learn from there, but really stick to the basics first, and that will help you. So usually trance music, you would find probably D minor, A minor. They're sort of the common scales to go for, and the chords sound the best. But it's entirely up to you what your style is and what style of music you're creating. You want to make it dark, you want to make it bright, happy, uplifting. It is all down to the scales, and you can find plenty of information on there. So you can find like the Ionian scale and the Sigrian scale. There's all different ones. If you just do your research and just have a play around on the keyboard, or just draw the notes onto your DAW and see how they sound all together. Sometimes you'll get an Egyptian sound, or more of an Indian sound, or a Western sound. They all play a good part in how you develop your track and how it's going to sound at the end. So I do hope you found that useful. That's coming from a melody. It's a very simple melody. Maybe I could do another track building series this year where I intentionally start building a complex melody and then build the chords around it. We'll see how it goes. But I really do hope that's helped. If it has, just let me know in the comments. Tell me what you want to see next. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and just drop me a comment. I spend most of my time on Facebook. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.